Kids, listen. If you have a teacher that you love, don't give her a fucking apple. Give them apple brandy. It'll take that B+ up to an A-. 75% of the time, it works every time. Data, facts, empirical evidence, science. Calvados. First of all, what is brandy? Brandy is fruit distillate in its essence. You can have peach brandy, plum brandy, apricot, cherry, etc., etc. Probably the most commonly produced type is made from grapes, and the most commonly known type of grape brandy is cognac. Cognac is actually a region in France where they make this grape brandy. It is very, very famous, tends to be pretty damn expensive, but I think that is almost synonymous with brandy these days. However, something a bit more obscure and fantastic is an apple brandy called Calvados. Calvados can trace its roots back to the mid-16th century when a French lord named Picot first wrote about it. However, Calvados didn't become French official until 1942 when it received its AOC designation. AOC stands for Appellation d'Origine Contrôlée, and this is essentially the French governing body of alcohol. You'll see AOC designations all over their exported wine and spirits. So they set regulations and production methods that these guys have to pretty much abide by to put the label, in this case, Calvados, on it. First of all, Calvados has to be made from apples, and it has to be produced in the Normandy region of France. This is up in the northwest portion of the country, right across the water from England. Apparently, apples grow really well here. Berneroy XO uses almost 200 different varieties of apples in their apple brandy, in their Calvados. To be called Calvados, you also have to age it in oak for a minimum of 2 years. This XO, which XO is it's basically telling you how old it is. It stands for extra old to us, and that means it has to be at least 6 years in the barrel for aging. 2 years is called fine or fine. You've also got VS and VSOP, which are other aging declarations. But yeah, today we're going to be tasting an XO. This is an old apple brandy. In addition to using over 100 different varieties of apples, once they pull all the apples down from the tree and they crush them, they allow spontaneous fermentation to take place. So they've already got native yeast on the skins of the apples, and so they let it sit for a while and fermentation takes place on its own. So it gives it a very unique, weird, wild character in the beginning before they distill it. This one is only distilled one time through a copper column still. So the more times that you distill something, the more stripped of the original flavors it tends to be. So this is very as close as you can be to that original, basically apple cider that was distilled. Other places in Calvados require twice distilling, so you can imagine there's a slightly different character to expect from those. But anyway, let's give this a try. Pretty color. Kind of looks like apple juice a little bit. Ooh, kind of smells like apple juice. Wow. This is a little bit of baking spices and not quite apple pie, not as like crusty and rich, but there's definitely a tidbit of caramel and spice. And then just lots of big, beautiful apples. Oh, gosh. I love Calvados. Love it. Love it. I love it. It's so drinkable. It really is like boozy apple juice. Maybe like medium in body on the palate. Pretty clean. It's not rough around the edges at all. This is a really well put together product here. I wish there was a little bit more barrel character, just a bit more. The apple is very, very prevalent, but the barrel notes, you can tell that they're using old barrels because it's not as pronounced of a barrel character. An example of this is if you've ever had Woodford Reserve double oaked. So the double oak process is first they age it in the charred barrels for however many years. And then before they bottle it, instead of just putting it right in there, they actually put it into a fresh, newly charred barrel to finish it. And you can tell the difference. There's a lot of vanilla and caramel and a bit of sweetness from using freshly charred barrels. It makes a world of difference. This, I saw in my research also, uses these older barrels that don't impart quite as much character. So they're really trying to show off the apples here, which is fine and it's good and it's very, very enjoyable, but I just feel like it could use a little more body, a little more behind it. A bit more caramel would be nice. This is incredibly enjoyable though. It's so easy to drink. If you like cider, you need to try Calvados. It really basically is distilled apple cider, you know, really. It's so good. It's so crisp and clean. Perfect for like this fall and winter weather. This is a good sipper. Yeah, this is some good shit right here. This just isn't something you taste every day. I have a feeling that probably 98% of the viewers of this show have never even heard of Calvados. It really doesn't have a great rep here. I'm sure production is very small, and cognac, as I mentioned earlier, just kind of kills the scene of brandy. Everyone thinks brandy is cognac. Well, I mean, it is, but that's all it is. It's like brandy, oh yeah, that's cognac. That's the grape stuff. Apple brandy, Calvados, is really good. Really seasonally appropriate right now. Yeah, good stuff. Cheers.